what's up? I'm Amin Dillon, and welcome to my podcast. I'm sitting down with the movers and shakers and the stars to chat about life, love, business, and being a total boss. It's raw, it's candid, it's the stories behind the headlines. This is In Conversation. He'd be like, I make the best butter chicken. Okay, we ready? Yep. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm sitting down with a former reality TV star turned activist and designer and overall kick-ass boss babe. Luxurious Roxy is here, aka Roxy Earle.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Good to have you. I'm so excited because I follow you on Instagram. And
Thank
I just
you.
love your vibe because I
Thank
feel
you.
like you're my friend on Instagram.
Everyone says that. They're always like, "You're my best friend."
You are.
I meet
it's
people
one-sided, but
yeah, no, but it's so funny. I love that people have that connection with me.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Well, when you're very active on Instagram.
Yes.
And so every time I see your day, you're like letting me know the good and the bad, and
Yeah.
I feel it. I'm like, it's like you called me personally, and you're like, Amin, this is what happened. It snowed today, or I missed my meeting, or guess what? I just got another endorsement, and I'm like, way to go. And here's my day, but then unfortunately the Instagram story ends, and then you don't get to hear about my day. But
Well, now I'm following you, so I'll hear about your day.
yeah, I was following you, and you were on my bucket list of guests to have, but I was like, okay, let me get a little bit bigger. She has no idea who I am. She's not like following me on my Bollywood stuff. So I'm like, let me wait till I'm a little bit more established, and then I'll reach out. And then I just DM'd you because I just like saw something that you're doing podcast. So I was like, let me just try. And you actually responded, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, people are always really surprised about that because I'm aware that I have I do big, I have big interviews with big global magazines and things like that and journalists and stuff, but this is my city and these are my girls that I'm trying to lift up. And I love when a woman in my hometown, I just love it when women in general are doing cool things and trying to do things, and everybody just needs support. We just need to support each other.
Yeah.
So if I have the time, as you can see from my schedule, my assistant's my schedule is really crazy, but I try to make the time for people. And, it's important to me to be able to, if I can be on someone's podcast and that helps their business grow, then I'm going to try and be on their podcast.
Which is amazing.
We all just need to support each other. We're all business owners and women trying to do great things, and we just need to lift each other up. So
Absolutely.
I really try. And then the other thing is everyone is so surprised when I write them back. It's the first thing everyone writes when I write them back is, oh my God, I can't believe you're writing me back. And then they say, is this really Roxy? It's hard. I get a lot of DMs, but that's what I'm building a community. And so I just don't see any difference between me and everyone else in my community. We're all connected, and I've got 2 feet on the ground. So we're all just women doing our thing. And so I try to stay connected with people, and I love that I can meet all these interesting women through my Instagram. It's really neat for me.
Absolutely. And I think that's why people love you, because I feel like you make others feel good. You're very positive. I know you go through a lot.
Yeah.
We've seen it, but I love that what you give back is always love and positivity, and I think we need more of that. So when I see your Instagram, you're one of the few accounts that I don't feel bad about, myself, after viewing your stuff. I'm not here she is, perfect, bikini body on some beach, it's more about real talk. You talk about hey, I don't have always good days. I have all these opportunities, but I have these other things too. And so it makes you go, okay, so she's human.
Yes.
That's the best part.
Yes. I don't know when they everybody lost this sense of reality on social media and reality TV and all of that. Why not be real? I just don't even know any other way to be, but someone wrote an article, this amazing journalist, Amy, who I love, for Style Democracy, the other day, and posted it. And she voted me as one of the top Instagram accounts to follow to feel good. And I was so flattered by that. I was like, that's a really nice thing to say about someone, that following me makes you feel good. So I really appreciate you saying that, because I do kind of just want to spread love and share positivity and spread positivity. And it comes from a very genuine place. So I really appreciate that, you take the time to follow, and also that you appreciate that that's what I'm out there doing, because it is hard to put yourself out there every day, because this is my real life, and these are the trials and tribulations of a girl on a mission trying to change the world. So I have a lot on my plate, and they're not always great days.
I love that you said girl on a mission, because you are on a mission. We're going to get to that because
Yeah,
you
I'm
are
on a
doing
big
amazing
mission.
things.
Yeah.
It's such an exciting time for you, but I want to backtrack a little bit. So in case some of the listeners and viewers right now don't get access to Canadian TV, how I got to know you was on the Real Housewives of Toronto, which I was like, first of all, yes, that we finally got the show, because I do watch the American ones. And I'm always like, why not Canadian? You know, they had the Vancouver one. And I was like, I always thought Toronto would be great. They finally had it. And then they announced you as one of the cast members. And so I remember I wasn't sure what to expect.
Oh, okay.
So you tune in, because I didn't know any of the women, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I don't know like who's who or whatever. And so then when I watched it, it was like great, because people got to see you, and right away I feel like a lot of women identified with you and related to you.
I
So.
definitely got a very positive response from being on the show. It was amazing how many women felt that like I represented them in some way, in so many different ways. Like I'm mixed race, I'm younger, I am certainly curvier than any of the girls on the show that I'd seen before. I don't look like them. I don't have any plastic surgery. Like, I mean, it's just such simple things.
Yeah.
So I represented like a whole other type of woman who was like making it. Like, there's all these women who are like, you can consider like what a trophy wife looks like. And I definitely redefined that in some ways.
Which I'm glad.
I mean,
Which
I'm
needs to be
glad. I
done.
mean, when did we? I would much rather be. I'm more interested in a woman who's got all these fabulous things happening in her life and this wonderful personality and looks real. I love when women look like themselves. And I just think that there's, especially on television, you lose like a sense of what women even look like.
The casting. So can you just quickly tell us how you got part of the show? Like, was this something that you originally were like, oh my God, I'm hearing they're casting and
No.
I got to get on here. Let me call who's got a connection. Or
I don't
did
even
you
think
get like an
can
unknown
do
number?
that. There were so many women would be calling if there was like a casting call,
Yeah.
right? Imagine all the women who'd want to be on the show. But no, they cast for the show by, I'm not allowed to say exactly what the process is,
Okay.
because I'm
It's top secret.
those are like top secret. We call those housewife secrets. But essentially, they're looking and scouring the city for women who lead fabulous lives, have big personalities, and would be great on television.
Okay.
So,
And
they find you. You can't find them.
Okay, so they approach you.
Yes.
And they sell the idea, and right away you're like, yes.
No. Oh my gosh. I was in Paris with my girlfriend Monica, and we were having like a girls' weekend in Paris. And this number kept calling me from Vancouver and from LA. And I was like, who are these? What are these people calling?
Yeah.
And then finally I pick up, and I'm like, hi. And they're like, hi, Roxy. We have been trying to get a hold of you. We are casting for a reality show. And I was like, how did you get my number? They're like, we got your number from so-and-so. And they had this list of girls who had given them my number. And they were my friend, like people I knew, like acquaintances and stuff in the city. And they were like, we think you'd be amazing for this TV show. And I was like, well, what's it all about? And they're like, it's about a group of affluent women in the city who, and I was like, hold on a second. I was like, is this the Real Housewives?
and you
they're
knew
like,
it right away.
yes, we're calling because we're casting for Bravo's Real Housewives. And I was like, oh, interesting. And then I still said no.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I just like, because the show in so many ways is like about women fighting and very catty. And while I'd been a fan of the show, a lot of it, it's like, there wasn't a ton of women on the show that inspired me. And so I wasn't quite sure if I fit the bill in many ways. Like, I knew I had a fabulous life, and I'm outspoken and all of that, but I'm not mean, and I'm not about tearing other women about, and I'm not about fighting, and I don't have a lot of drama in my real life. And so it's interesting that I was able to take a show that's essentially about a group of women fighting and turn it into a movement about empowering women.
Yeah. That
So
really is what was really
it's
interesting.
been an awesome journey for me. So I'm glad I said yes, because it's like, it just goes to show you can open the door of any opportunity and turn it into what you need for yourself.
Yeah. Let me ask you, because you were familiar with the Real Housewives, which one were you watching? Like, which franchise?
I watched Beverly Hills because, I know some different women
Yeah.
who are on the shows.
Okay, so you were familiar with that one. Going in, how do you prep for that? Because you already know that they can be quite catty and they
Yes.
want to like create that drama. That's what gets them their airtime. So were you going in being like, no, I'm sure they'll be like nice to me, or were you like, okay, be ready for like them to just come at you?
It's so funny because you can have like your eyes wide open and you can think you can be prepared as you want to be. And some women go into the show where they have this, they think they have this whole strategy, but everyone can see through that. You just have to be yourself and be real in the situations that you're in. It's like nothing you could ever imagine or predict.
Really?
It's just a different experience and so unless you're being yourself, people can see through that. So I was just me and took every situation as it came to, and none of it was staged. It's all real. Like those were real interactions I had with real women, and friendships are made and friendships are broken. And it all happens and it's documented.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting. But no, I didn't have any. I was aware of the show, but you really cannot prepare yourself. Not so much for what filming a reality show is like. I couldn't prepare myself for that either. But at least that's not as weird. The weirdest part is when the show comes out and your life begins to change. That's the weird part. You can't prepare yourself for what would have come from that.
Like, what was the first thing you noticed once the show came out that like changed?
I was walking down the street, and I live in Yorkville, and I've lived in Yorkville forever. And I'm walking my dog down the street, and people are like pulling over their car, screaming, "I love you, Roxy," out the car window.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, I love you too. Well, like that was when I kind of felt like, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
And like people were like emailing me and messaging me and DMing me thousands of messages a week telling me that I like am their inspiration. I've like changed their life somehow. I'm like, what? Like they were so connected to the fact that I was like a curvaceous, confident woman. And that to me was super interesting. Like you just cannot prepare yourself for people to idolize you. That's a weird thing to even think about. So I try to not think about that. I try to make every person who messages me and it starts like that. Like I try to just like remind them that we're just totally on the same level. I'm just another girl who happened to be on a TV show who's doing great things, but there's no need to feel intimidated or no need to idolize me. And by no means am I perfect.
Yeah. But amazing that you got that opportunity because of that show. You got this platform because I know you're very big on social media. Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, a movement was born.
Yeah, exactly.
A movement was born. It's totally changing fashion. Like it's crazy to think that it just like I cannot preface enough. And like I think for viewers listening, how I think this translates to their life, because this is a little bit, okay, you go on a reality show. A lot of people would love to do that and can't do that. But it just goes to show that any situation in your life that you might be scared of, an opportunity where you might be hesitant or scared, just open the door and then like make it what you want out of it. Like there could not be a greater juxtaposition than My Size Rocks and What the Housewives is about. Like, so there could not be two things that are more polar opposite.
Yeah.
And yet they existed and were created out of one another. So I just think you can create anything you want out of any opportunity.
Absolutely.
Just get the opportunity.
Okay.
Make the opportunity happen.
I'm trying to picture you as a younger teen Roxy because we see you now.
Okay.
And I just love that you have this confidence. You know what you want. You're going after all your goals and dreams. And I'm like going back. I'm trying to picture like a 10-year-old you.
Oh.
And I feel like you were like dominating like classrooms. I feel like you were a class president. I don't know.
I was super
so tell me what a
fabulous.
young Roxy was like.
I've always been very confident. I've always been really had tons of friends and really social because I've always been really outgoing. I was very eccentric and I had like my own personal sense of style really young. One of our family friends, she was a backup singer for Eric Clapton.
Okay.
And I remember really young, I went to see her when they were on tour in Canada. I went to the show and I got to go backstage. I was backstage at Eric Clapton's show. I was with my mom and dad and I would have been about 10 years old. And Naomi Campbell was there.
Oh, wow.
And I just I'd never in my life seen a woman that glamorous in human flesh. Like to this day, I don't think I've ever seen someone so glamorous in my life. And I meet a lot of people. And I just looked at her and I was like, Oh my gosh, she's so amazing.
Yeah.
And I like loved fashion, and like that's when I like really kind of got into I decided I wanted to be a model then, and like I loved style. And anyway, so they would give me the clothes from the concerts, like that they would wear on tour, and I would like when they were done with them, and I'd put them in my dress up box. And I like grew up in Etobicoke, so I'm like storming around Etobicoke with like true stage costumes from the backups. Yes, sequins, tasseled jackets. Yeah. I'm wearing, and my mom used to buy me these outfits in Paris and in France when I was a kid. She had these beautiful French clothes for me and European clothes because my parents were raised in England. Yeah. And I would like go to school in like a French beret, a velvet dress, and people were like, "Who are you?"
I'm Roxy.
And it's not that I was growing up like wealthy or anything like that. It was I had like European influenced parents. So like it was normal to have this. And I had a pixie cut.
I want to see photos.
No, my God. I was a fashion icon, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like me in kindergarten, I'm going to show you a photo after, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like I have always been serving looks.
I love that. So then growing up, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be a model and an actress.
Mm-hmm. And then, did we pursue it whatsoever?
Yeah. I like forced my parents to take me to a modeling agency. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh my goodness. Okay. So my parents are the exact opposite of like stage parents. Like they were just like, this is not something our daughter should be doing. Mm-hmm. But they, supported my dreams. So we go to this agency and we get to the agency and they tell me that I'm not the right fit to be a model or an actress. I'm like, oh, neither model nor actress. Like,
how old are you at this time?
I would have been about 12.
12, and you're being told that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I was told like, you're not the right look. And I was thinking, but an actress is a chameleon. She like she's her job is to like be all these different things. How can I not even be that?
Yes.
And I understood why I couldn't be a model because I didn't look like a blonde little, like that's the thing that was cool when I was young, being blonde and like blue eyes and like Sweet Valley High.
Girl Next Door.
Do you remember Sweet Valley High?
Yeah.
Okay, Sweet Valley High was the look. There was no Kardashians then. So there was no ethnic girls. There was no brown skin girls. And so I didn't fit the look, and then I didn't also fit the look to be an actress. So I went to Etobicoke School of the Arts, and I went to acting classes and schools, and I had so much fun. But I always had like this remembered that I was like not actually beautiful enough to be a real actress or a real model.
That's harsh.
Until now.
Of
Look
course,
at me now.
but I mean, that's harsh. What if they had told you at that time, yes, Roxy, you could at least do acting? Like, think about how you could be like the big next child star.
But it shaped me. Like I had a love for business and being outspoken and stuff. And it's just interesting. All these situations just happen how they're supposed to. Mm-hmm. It formed something in my brain that really made me aware from a young age that people's idea of beautiful needs to not be projected onto me.
I find that a lot of people, they have dreams and goals, and let's say they get a no. And I always find that we're so blessed to live in a time where you don't have to rely on other people to make your dreams and goals happen. You can, especially with entrepreneurs, you've got social media, you've got this platform, everyone has it. Everyone has a voice, I see online, that if you have a goal and someone's saying no, just go around them. You can still go after it. You don't need the typical agency to say, oh, we see something in you, like we're going to make you the next big star. It's like, if you don't see it, I'll prove it anyways. You'll see it one day.
It's a different world.
Which I feel like we're blessed because I feel like there's so many amazing women that I'm seeing online that I may have never heard of. They may not fit the cookie cutter standard, but they're amazing. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to see them online and then support them.
It's really cool.
It is really cool. And it creates this community because then you all want to help each other and you learn from each other and you collab. And I know you've been collabing quite a bit, which again, we'll get to. Okay, so you wanted to be a model. You wanted to be an actress. So you're being this confident kid. You went to university?
Yes. I went to Laurier.
What did you take there?
I studied communications and business.
Oh, okay. So the business thing there. And then at that time, did you have an idea of what we were going to do with your life?
I always, by that time, my friend Schreiber and I and some other people started throwing parties in university.
Amazing.
And we were like promoting parties and we had so much fun. And that's when I kind of really got like this entrepreneurial spirit that's always been inside of me really flared up. And we really got into business and marketing and advertising. And by like the second year of university, I knew I wanted to work for a big ad agency because I knew I like loved the creative aspect of advertising and marketing. And so when I left school, I had all these offers to like give these like really cool jobs out of university, but I had my hopes set on Ogilvy, which is like at the time like the biggest global
one.
ad agency in the world and like the most prestigious. And if I'm going to work somewhere, I want it to be prestigious. And so I was like, I need to get an internship there and all of this stuff. And I wasn't able to because there was no job internships left. But there was an opportunity to be the executive assistant to the managing director and the CEO. So I turned down all of these jobs that I was offered in my field to be the executive assistant at an ad agent at Ogilvy. So that's how I started.
Wow.
And I think like 3 weeks later, they fired me as the executive assistant because I was the worst executive assistant, but they put me onto an account.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm like, they fired you.
No, they were like, you're a terrible executive assistant, Roxy, but we think you're fabulous. And they put me on an account. And I spent my whole corporate career was with Ogilvy. And I worked in London with Ogilvy and in Toronto. I got to work in different parts of the world. And then I went to London and I was overseeing some of the European advertising. And it was all the whole time my client was American Express. And so we just formed this beautiful relationship. And then I ended up leaving Ogilvy to go to American Express and be in-house on their advertising team.
Yeah.
So that was like my whole career. But before that, I had one quick job right out of university, my very first job, which I got fired from.
Oh, what was it?
Oh my God. I don't even want to. It's just like, it was such an annoying situation. But anyways, I'll tell you that offline.
Yeah.
But it was like a startup and I went to work for them and.
Oh, it wasn't like a dream gig or anything that you were crushed that.
No, it was like a small startup and I took a chance and then, yeah.
See that, but that's what I always think. Like, you know, when you get fired, especially when you're younger, you're like, oh my God, like I've been rejected. Like,
oh my God, I was fired from my first job at Study University, and I was in Forbes this year. So hey,
exactly. But it's like then you ended up working for the agency and working for American Express.
Oh, it all works how it's supposed to.
Hello, like way better.
Also, things like ground you and humble you and like turn your brain around. Like I think that there's this misconception when you start work that you're so valuable and important. And I just like the
but it's hard to be rejected. I think school doesn't teach you that. That's the thing.
You have to life learn on teaches your own. You that life and it's such a good lesson. And what I think is really important is that it gives you this reality check about how unimportant you are in a huge corporation. You might think you have great ideas and that's wonderful, but your skills need to be honed. So it was awesome to work at Ogilvy all those years because I really learned. I learned so much.
Yeah.
I worked so hard when I was that age. And it was just such an awesome time in my life. So I'm really grateful for it.
Can I ask you, what was the one thing that you learned there that's helped you with your entrepreneur initiatives now?
Well, I learned how to build brands. I learned how to build a brand. That's literally what my job was. Our job was to continue to build American Express's brand. And that's like one of the biggest brands in the world. Yeah. But the fact that it takes every day endless work to keep it in people's and consumers' minds and all of the stuff. And we started working with social media and influencers when it was just bloggers. And so that's really cool. And so it was definitely a great training ground for as I launched my own brand. And as I really had to like begin to speak to customers and consumers. And so it was cool. It was great training.
From what I remember reading, you left American Express to focus on your family.
Yeah.
And that's when the show came along.
Yeah.
So during that time, did you have an idea like I'm going to start my own business, or were you like,
yeah, well, I was a stay-at-home puppy mom. That was my job. I got a puppy, Lola, who's the love of my life. I had been working a long time at that stage. Like most people have been working a long time, but I started working when I was like 15 years old. And so I had been working for a while and I took about a year and a half, 2 years off. My family needed my attention at the time. And I was in a position where I could do that. And then I was getting really bored and I wanted to start this fashion app. And
fashion app. Okay.
yeah, and it's still, I think, the most epic idea.
Can you tell the idea?
Yeah, like my idea was I wanted to women to be able to share their closets, because I figured there's got to be another girl out there who's my size,
Yeah.
and who has like great clothes. And all my girlfriends, whenever we had like a wedding or anything like that, they would just all text message each other and like borrow each other's stuff, but I never fit anything. So I figured there could be like another girl out in the city who had the same closet, like, you know, I could share her closet. So it's called Closet Share. And I was going to start that app, and I was working on that idea, and that's why I did the Housewives. I thought it would be a great way for me to launch my app.
Yeah.
But then the show happened, and the app became irrelevant, because all anyone cared about was what I was wearing and about my body.
Yeah, but they can still shop your closet.
So
I tie it in.
Well, I pivoted, and and my attention just refocused. It just refocused. There's no other. It just happened totally naturally. Like, people started talking to me about certain things, and I started responding.
Yeah. What was the coolest thing or coolest opportunity you got while you were on Real Housewives?
Nothing really happened while you're on the Housewives, because there's so many NDAs and it's so private that absolutely nobody can know you're on the Housewives.
Oh, really?
So it's all private, and everywhere you film, they have to sign all of this. It was all embargoed. So, and everything is kept private. So nobody knew what we were doing, and nobody knew we were on the Housewives while we were filming the Housewives.
Would you have gone back for season 2?
I can't say.
Do you think there'll be a season 2? Have there been any talks?
No, I don't think there'll be a season 2. I would have done another season, maybe. I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
There was some complicated situation there, but I loved the Housewives. I loved the whole thing.
I feel like we didn't get enough time to get to know the ladies. Like, as soon as you were just kind of like getting into your stories and understanding the relationships.
I know. It had really good ratings. People loved it.
It just, I was actually quite surprised that they didn't have a season 2 right away.
I know. It's just so much easier to buy American content.
Okay.
It's like people.
I want to see my Canadian girls.
I know, right? It was silly, but I had a great time.
But I mean, it's not like you're missing out. I mean, you've got so much going on. So let's talk about now, because you're a designer now. And so can I just say, I love your Le Chateau collection.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I was like, okay, there's some of her outfits are on sale. I was like,
oh, it's amazing.
I don't need any more outfits. So I was like,
amazing.
Okay.
I love that.
You're probably like, you can always add another Roxy Earle collection to your closet.
I'm wearing Roxy Earle. Everything I'm wearing is Roxy Earle, except my tights.
Are those the new tights? No, they're not glittery.
They're not the glittery, but they're the same brand. So I have a collaboration with SheerTex.
Yeah.
Where my tights are unbreakable.
And Lola this can uphold Lola, right? Or
Lola is like always clawing at me and all over me, and she's the culprit.
She's the ultimate test.
She's the culprit of breaking a lot of my pantyhose because her paws. But yeah, no, SheerTex is amazing. My collaboration with them, All That Glitters by Roxy Earle by SheerTex, is a line of unbreakable, unrippable
that is so
pantyhose. Yeah.
What has the pantyhose industry been doing all these years? Because
I know,
I would get
right?
one, and even putting on, it would rip, and I was like, well,
yeah,
there you go.
All That Glitters by Roxy Earle and SheerTex.
So you got Le Chateau, you've got the glitter pantyhose now,
and I did a swimmer line with
swimmer,
NYX.
Yeah. So you have all these different collections.
Yes.
Is this something that just kind of came to you, or were you like, okay, I have the show, I have this platform now, I'm on a mission to change the fashion industry, so how do I do that?
So I've always loved fashion. But I always say fashion hasn't always loved me back.
Yeah.
Because I go to buy clothes and not all the clothes fit me. Like, a lot of brands end at like a size 10. And I'm always somewhere between like a 14 and a 16. So it was really impossible to find clothes. And I knew that I wanted, and the clothes that were available to me in my size were never stylish and fabulous. So I just figured, if you can't find them, make it yourself.
Yeah.
And so then I started designing with brands to make them more inclusive, and I'm on a mission to like break down all those barriers in the fashion world so that girls of all sizes can shop at all different types of stores, and there doesn't have to be like a us and them situation. And yeah, it's working.
Have you seen it change, like now when you go to the mall?
A lot of really big brands are taking notice, and I'm doing things. I'm working with Joe Fresh. Joe Fresh is now inclusive. Like, there's lots of people that I work with, and it's amazing because they want to work with me, but to work with me, you have to be true to my inclusivity. And so they'll change their company. So it's great.
Is there like a dream retailer that you're hoping to work with?
So there's definitely some dream retailers to work with. I think it would be really cool to work with the biggest brands in the world because that's where I could have the most impact because they have the most stores. So I'm having lots of great conversations with H&M right now. That's really cool. I love Joe Fresh. I love that they're Canadian and in across Canada and inclusive. I think there's lots of great brands. And then there's like really cool brands that are like my favorite designers that I've just never been able to wear. And I would like love to just be able to move the dial on them for shifting their sizing. I don't need to do a collaboration with them because they're doing everything that I would love them to be already doing. I just want to shift so that I can make them have inclusive sizing. So that's the other piece of it. It's like there's all my collaborations, but then there's also just with my power and my voice being able to influence a company to be inclusive.
Can you talk about how you design?
Oh my gosh, it's like my dream job.
Right?
Yeah, it's a dream job.
So when you're thinking of your collection, going, okay, these I'm going to have some dresses, I'm going to have some tots and whatnot. How do you get inspired? What's the process like?
Mostly like 1,000 million pictures on vacation.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And there's all of these like girls who I've been like in my saved folder for ever that I've never been able to wear any of those brands or I've never been able to dress like that girl, but I love her style. And then I travel a lot. I get to travel. I'm really lucky. Traveling's like a huge part of my life. And I travel all over the world. And I would always be like in Europe on vacation, seeing these like beautiful women in the Med. I'd be somewhere like, I don't know, I'm in Greece and like I'm at this gorgeous hotel and there's all these beautiful women and there's all these beautiful clothes. And I'm like, I would love to dress like that, but it doesn't come in my size. And so they're like one of the collections I did with Le Chateau, I did this like beautiful Italian stretch linen sets. And it's because I've been in Italy and I've seen all these beautiful linens, but they never fit me. So it's just as simple as that.
And you've had a chance to actually design for some celebrities, which I was like, oh my God, what a dream, right?
I think the coolest is, have you seen This Is Us? Do you know who Chrissy Metz is?
Yes, I saw that dress you did.
She wore my dress in InStyle magazine, which was cool. Because that's cool.
And she walked the red carpet in one of your pieces.
She wore one of my dresses at the Country Music Awards when she was performing with Carrie Underwood. Lena Dunham wore my clothes on Jimmy Kimmel. And she wore them on a bunch of red carpets.
Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's cool. Yes, it's very cool.
Is there a dream woman for you?
Celebrity dream girl.
You must have a dream girl you want to dress.
Oh, I have so many dream girls.
Put it out there in the universe.
I love the Kardashians. But I also think my dream girl to dress is got to be somebody who, like, I'd love to dress Lizzo.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like I'm like more into like the girls who like represent, like I love Amy Schumer. I love like girls who are really very real and very honest about their lives and put that out to the world. I just think there's so many girls I'd like to dress. But you know what? Everyone talks about the celebrities. It's not what even like gets me so excited. What gets me so excited is like just a girl in Manitoba who's like, I've never been able to go to prom. It's like my dream to get married, but I haven't been able to find a dress that fits me, or like I wanted to go on this date. Like that's, and they get to wear one of my pieces and they have something that is accessible to them and fits them and they feel really beautiful. And that's the stuff that gets me the most excited.
Have you ever walked down the street and you've seen somebody wearing something in your collection?
Yes,
like,
it's so
they
exciting.
don't know it's you, but you're like, I love what you're wearing.
It's so exciting. No, I've never not said something.
Yeah, you're like, excuse me, I'm Roxy Earle. You're wearing my piece.
The best was I was in Whistler and I was with my girlfriend Catherine and we were walking through Whistler Village and I was wearing this like pink puffy coat I designed. And it was like pink and gray and it was super popular. It was actually completely sold out. And it was like one of the most popular things I've ever designed, which just goes to show how much outerwear is missing extended sizing. But this girl, and she was like a size 4 or something, because I make my clothes in all sizes. And she's walking through Whistler Village and we're wearing the exact same. She's wearing I'm wearing like my leather pants, my jacket, like all for my collection. She's wearing it too. And I like walk past each other and we were like, we're wearing the same thing. And she didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
Like, she knew the name, but she didn't know what I looked like.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm Roxy Earle. And she's like, oh my gosh. And it was like a very cool moment.
I can imagine.
But I've had a million moments like that. Not a million. I've had a lot of moments where I've seen girls in my clothes. It's exciting. But that was just like very special.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading somewhere on your Instagram that you always said that it frustrated you that you could not wear the same clothes when you went shopping with your girlfriends.
It frustrated me that I can't shop in the same clothes as stores as my best friends.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we want to go shopping. Well, shopping isn't any fun for me because I can never buy anything.
Exactly.
So I wanted two best friends, regardless of size, to be able to go into the same store and shop together, shop the same looks.
Yeah, exactly. It's so interesting because like you don't realize that's an issue until you have two friends that are way different sizes and then go, they can't go to the same store.
Yeah.
Like it's different if they're same size and they're borrowing each other's clothes, right? And it's like you don't realize there's an issue until it comes to your attention. I'm so glad you're bringing that to people's attention to be like, no, it should be a fun experience for everyone.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, when did fashion stop becoming fun?
Fun, yeah. That's the whole point
Instead,
of fashion.
it's like frustrating and stressful for girls. I hate that.
And the best part is when you have your girlfriend with you, you can try it on and be like, hey, if I get this and you get that, well, we're going to swap, right? Because you don't want to buy everything, right? You're like, I'm on a budget. Someone told me I'm on a budget. I wanted to ask you. So I've been actually asking my friends this ever since like I knew I was going to get you in the podcast. And I was like looking at your whole Instagram and I was like, okay, one of the things that stood out to me, because I was like, how do we help embrace the movement? Because I know you're doing your bit, but I was like, you know, someone like me or one of my girlfriends that wants to support, I'm like, what can we do to help the movement? Do we just like your post and follow you?
Share my post.
Share your post.
But also post your own post and then hashtag my size rocks.
Well, the question I had for you, and this is what the debate came up, was we were talking about the word plus size. And I was like, you know what? It's interesting. Why do we have the word plus size?
Because I've never called anyone minus size.
Yeah, exactly. No one's like mini size. So it's like
no one's like, you're a negative size.
Yeah. So if you're 0 to, I don't know where's plus size supposed to start? 12. Okay. So up to 12. I mean, like, who decided, okay, now 12, you're going to be in this section called plus size? I'm like, I feel like that term is part of the problem. I want to know your thoughts. Like, do you think we as a society should get rid of these terms?
Yeah, like I always say to them, stop calling me plus size. I'm my size and my size rocks.
Yeah.
That's how it started. I didn't know why everyone wanted to like categorize me into one thing or the other.
Especially at size 12. Like, size 12 to me, like, why is there something like that is a different like category
I know, it's
in
crazy.
itself?
It's crazy.
But I was thinking like maybe if that's how we can all go to our retailers or people or designers themselves too, or maybe just the way they speak and say, don't call a size, if you're saying it's 12, anything 12 and over as plus size, because I think that is maybe adding to the issue to say like that's a separate
I don't know
section.
about that because I feel like some people like identify with it and feel like bonded in a community by that word.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, but that's like for me personally, I was like, just stop labeling me, and because you're categorizing everything about me just based on my size. Like when did my size define who I am?
Exactly.
Also, like my size isn't that revolutionary. So that's why I don't really understand any of it, but I didn't understand the hype. But I did understand that it was like been a while since a woman had seen a confident, curvaceous woman on television. I think the one thing that is like the most powerful is you can share my words. You know, my Instagram's Luxurious Roxy, and when you share, when I talk about things, I think that resonates with people. But also posting your own photos where you feel empowered, and then you hashtagging my size rocks, it becomes a thing. Like it's like a badge that says, I'm not going to let people tell me how I should look, or I don't like it how everyone tells women what size they should be and judges women based on their bodies. And so, you know, there's like power in numbers.
Yeah.
Because when retailers see how much of an army I have behind me, like the My Size Rocks army, how big it is, that's when my voice becomes very powerful. And I can like really start talking about business with some of these retailers. And that's when you can create change. You're like, I'm not just speaking for myself. Look how many girls use my hashtag. Look how many people follow me. Look how many people support this.
One of the Instagram videos that you just posted was at an event where you spoke at, and I was listening to it, and you were talking about how hard it's been to undo the years of damage that this industry has done to women. And we're around the same age. So I remember growing up, and I never saw brown girls on anything. I never
Yeah,
saw
agreed.
diversity.
Agreed.
And so now I feel like we're so lucky that we're in a time where, you know, there's so much diversity and everyone's doing it. But still, our entire childhood and teen years, we're told if we're not blonde, we're not a size like 4, freckles, blue eyes, that you weren't pretty. And I know I have had issues with that too, where I never felt like I saw someone that looked like me, and now I'm like so excited anytime I see like a brown girl. I'm like, yes, Priyanka Chopra, Mindy Kaling, let's do this. Right? So
I love Mindy.
Oh, I love Mindy
That's
too.
one of my dream girls to dress.
Right?
The damage I'm talking about is what the media has done. So just as powerful as the media is, that it's influenced negative things about our body images, it can also be the thing that empowers women about their body images. Like the more, so for so long, all we saw was one stereotype of what a beautiful woman looked like and what a beautiful body was. And everybody we saw was retouched and photoshopped and all of these things. Well, so in the same essence, if you know, the media starts embracing, and we see on a large scale always diversity and unphotoshopped images and like all of this, then also it can be the thing that helps change all of it. And the thing is, the media is us. I am the media now. You're the media. Girls on Instagram are the media. That's how people are consuming. So we have a lot more control than we ever did before about what we want to see out there and what images we put out there to the world.
I know you're like have big aspirations, so I kind of want to give people a little something to look forward to. So let's say goals wise, first of all, are you a believer in terms of like vision boarding and putting down goals and writing them down, or are you just kind of taking everything as it comes?
I would love to be that kind of person, but I'm just not. Like I'm just not organized in that way to like write things down and like put them on a board.
Okay.
But I definitely have a vision board. It's in my mind.
Can we get an idea? Like, so in, let's say 5 years. 5 years and 10 years, where do you see yourself? You've got big plans, so I just want to know a little bit.
Television's an amazing medium. I love how it allows you to connect with people. So I see myself back on TV, and I'd love to be creating amazing content around inspiring women. So that's definitely something.
Wait, let's go to that. TV in terms of like a reality TV show, or would you do
I don't
like...
know. I don't know how it looks, but I definitely would love to see like I'd love to be back on television because I love connecting with people in that way.
Okay.
And I just find it really fun. I would love my business, Luxurious Roxy, to be at the point where I'm collaborating with global brands all over the world to make them inclusive. And my dream is always, what I do with all of these things is I'd like to inspire a generation of girls to feel good about themselves. And I would like to have moved the dial on that. Yeah. So I don't know how many women's lives I've touched thus far, but I'm hoping in 5 years from now we're in the millions.
Wow, those are good goals.
Yeah,
big goals.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not have big
You're
goals?
Going to be very, very busy. What about speaking engagements?
I think that people like to hear me speak because I speak my truth. And when you hear a woman who's at a place in her, there's aspects of my life that people find aspirational. When you get to hear a woman tell her real, honest truth about how she got there, that's inspiring to people. So, I
hope you'll continue that. I hope you'll be able to maybe even go into schools.
I try to focus on speaking engagements where I can reach the most people or create the most impact. So that's how I try to divide my time and projects and opportunities, is where am I going to create the most impact? Where can I move my size rocks forward the most, and how? And so I try to, that's how I try to sort of decide what I'm doing and where I give my time.
Okay. And then is there a certain role model that you have? Because I know a lot of women look at you as a role model, but I'm sure you have your own. So who are some women that you look up to?
Oh, mine aren't people you would know. Like, you know, I have women in my life that I admire the businesses they built or the families they've created or the success that they've created. You know, I really much admire my mother, and she's certainly my rock and my inspiration for a lot of things. But I don't have like a public woman where I'm like, that's my role model, so to speak, because I just really believe that you should surround yourself by tons and tons of people, men and women, who inspire you on a daily basis, but that you've got to really look to yourself as to guide your own life. I like when women have a lot of control and a sense of direction of that they've found on their own from their own gut instinct.
Okay.
Yeah, like I want women to have control of their lives, and I want them to stop like banking on other people to make their happiness and their dreams come true. I really think that inside of you, you have all that power. You've just got to find it.
I like that.
But yeah, I have role models every day. Just not anyone know, probably.
Okay. And then you were telling me before we started taping, you have an Indian connection, which I love. So you've been to India.
I haven't been to India.
You haven't been to India?
No.
Oh, you are long overdue. We need to take you to India.
I'm dying to go to India. So I've
Indian
tried to go
outfit.
to. Oh yeah, I wear Indian outfits.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I have like some.
You would look amazing.
There's some Indian designers that I'm just like obsessed with. And I follow Indian Vogue and like
Fashion Week over there is insane.
No, I message the designers all the time. I'm like obsessed with Indian beautiful silks and everything. And there's all these designers I love. My grandfather is born in Mumbai, and then my mother is born in Karachi, and my husband is born in Madras. So, yeah, I've definitely got an Indian connection.
Yeah. Do you get to take part in any sort of traditions or rituals? Like, how involved are you in the culture?
I don't know how involved I am. I certainly have members of my family that are more involved than others. I guess I'm a bit involved, not very, very involved, but I'm open to as much or as I have lots of people in my different family who are all over the place in terms of I have people who are pretty hardcore and then people it's pretty relaxed.
Yeah. Because both me and my cameraman were like shocked to find out that you were half Pakistani because we're like, we thought you were Italian. So.
No, I'm South Asian. Definitely. Yeah.
I love that's why I think you're overdue for a trip there. I think you would like just fall in love with it, and I
wanted to go recently, and we wanted to go. I just it didn't work out, but it's definitely like very high on my list.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely love to go to India.
Well, I hope we can make 2020 the year you go to India.
Yeah, I really want to go to India. Yeah.
Okay, we're putting it on the universe.
Yeah.
And for everyone who lives in India, maybe you can get invited. You have some locals to take you around.
If anyone wants to invite me to India, I'm really would love to go.
Let's all go. Let's jump on a flight right now. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. Before I let you go, I always like to leave each podcast with like one sort of piece of advice, or even just thought that you want to pass on to the listeners and viewers. So if you could give one piece of advice to anybody watching this right now, what would it be?
I think that like my best advice is maybe in the career space. And I always tell people that you can never really truly be amazing at something unless you're being yourself. And I think that applies to relationships, to business, to careers, to just life in general. So I encourage people to just live their truth and be who they are, because you're guaranteed to be the very best at being you rather than trying to be someone else.
Very well said. Thank you.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed our chat. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Almond's channel for more videos like this, and you can find me at Luxurious Roxy.